Hey, alright. Good morning, everybody. Cook Jewel, she's back here. We're gonna make Blintz. Or as people in my family say, Blintze. I'm gonna make Blintze. Step one in making Blintze is to make crepes. Now, this particular segment of the video is just gonna be all about the crepes. And one thing I've learned with experience making crepes is they're really not that fussy, and actually you do not need any special equipment. Okay, so I'm going to use a basic recipe here, and I'm going to show you how I'm just going to cook them on I cook them in my regular cast iron pans, and they're really not that fussy to get going. Once you get a little practice doing it, it ain't that fussy. So step one, we're going to make some Blintzes. I'm using a basic recipe here. It's a little bit modified, adapted from a recipe I got from the Joy of Cooking cookbook. I'm going to make a triple recipe this morning because my kids love to eat crepes plain for breakfast. So I'm going to be making some crepes just for them to eat. Then we'll have some, hopefully we'll have some left over after they demolish them. We'll have some enough left over to make Blintze. So I got my flour, I got my milk. I got 2 1/4 cups of milk. We're going to use 1 1/2 cups of flour. We're going to use 6 eggs. I'm going to use, how much of this am I using? 6 tablespoons of canola oil. And what else we got here? Sugar, 4 1/2 tablespoons of sugar. And we'll probably use about a 1/2 teaspoon, maybe 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Or maybe 1/2 teaspoon. Yeah, probably 1/2 teaspoon. That's, I think, what we're going to do. I'm just going to mix that all up in my big mixing bowl here with a whisk. Some people mix up crepes in a blender. You can do either one. I've done both, and I've had good luck doing either one. So I'm going to just get to mixing right now. Alright, so I got the dry ingredients in the bowl here. I'm going to start mixing in the wet ingredients. Make sure that I don't get any lumps in the flour. So I got my 2 1/4 cups of milk and 3/4 cups of canola oil getting in there. I'm going to just mix them pretty good with a whisk there to make sure we don't get any lumps. And now we're going to add 6 eggs. Alright, now the batter should be real thin, of course, because you're making crepes here. You want it to spread around a pan. And, you know, my kids ask me, what's the difference between crepes and pancakes? Well, obviously the batter's real thin, but also there's no leavening in it. There's no baking soda. There's no baking powder. So, you know, that's obviously a real important difference.
Are you making a Passover if there's no leaven?
Now, you can't make it on Passover, Dolly, because there's still a lot of flour in it.
Why?
And I ain't never seen no recipe for no crepes without flour in it.
Blintze has flour.
Alright, so let's talk process here, and let's talk equipment. What you're going to need. Now, I contend when you make crepes, you don't need any specialized equipment. You don't need a crepe pan or anything like that. But you do need a few things, you know, on hand, make your life easier while you're doing this, make it go real smooth. So, I got my favorite large cast iron pan here. I got a spatula with a really good thin edge on it, okay? Really thin. I got a 1/3 cup dry measuring cup placed inside a teeny little bowl. You're going to see why. Got canola oil. I got a paper towel. And right behind my bowl there with the ingredients, I got a cooling rack for where to put the crepes on once they come out the pan. So these things are going to make your life easier while you're doing this. You don't need a crepe pan. Just your favorite, trusted, biggest pan will probably make it easiest for you. But you know, I've used a variety of pans over the years. I've got another cast iron pan here. I do 2 at the same time. If you never made crepes before, just start with 1. I'm going to be doing 2. Now I just mixed up the ingredients. They need to sit for a good 15 minutes before we start cooking. there's two reasons you let crepe batter sit. One is to let the flour really have a chance to absorb the liquid in there. And then the other reason is to let the bubbles that was in the batter that got incorporated through the mixing process, to let them escape a little bit. But while you're waiting for that, you can start heating up your pans. You want to heat them up gradually so that they're heated very evenly over low heat. So I'm going to turn both my pans on over here. So I got my flames all the way, turned way down there on low. And I'm just going to leave the pan sitting here on low heat for a while. And then while we're doing that, while they're heating up, I'm going to put, I don't know, probably a teaspoon maybe, or maybe 2 teaspoons of canola oil in each pan. And just let it sit there. Oops, I got too much in that one. That's okay, cast iron loves oil. So just let them sit there warming up. You got 10 minutes now. You can do something. You can go say hi to Mr. Williams. You can, I don't know, you can do some dishes, clean up. Maybe you're feeling a bit peckish. You want a little warm-up snack. You do what you want. So you might be wondering, well, what if I don't have a crepe pan and I also don't have any cast iron? Well, you still got options. Hopefully you got a frying pan of some kind in your house. So whatever your biggest frying pan is, you could use it. Now, if it's non-stick, it's going to make your life a little bit easier. But even if it's just a regular frying pan, it'll do the job just fine. You just might find you need to also incorporate, grease in the pan every time, or, maybe using some non-stick spray or something like that. But my cast iron is pretty well seasoned. As you're going to see here, we only going to put in the canola oil once during the whole cooking process, and that's going to be it. Now, of course, if you're really making Blintze, while you're waiting for your cast iron pans to heat up for the crepes, you can get the filling mixed up for the Blintze. So you could, put that in the refrigerator, because you're supposed to let that chill for a little while. This is a real labor of love, I'm splitting this video up into 2 parts in case, people just want to make the crepes, and then just eat that, because that's delicious as it is. But, if you're going the whole way, running the whole marathon, and you want to make the Blintze, hey, go for it. So while your pans is heating up, you can start making the filling for the, what am I talking about here? I lost my train of thought. You start making the filling for the Blintze. How could I forget my train of thought here? I don't know. I must be losing it. I ain't had my coffee yet. I got to go get some coffee. Alright, so the pans have been on the stove top, on the lowest possible setting, for a good 10-15 minutes now at least. And that canola oil that's in them is going to be good and hot too. So this is where the paper towel comes in. We're going to take the paper towel and just wipe the pans out. You got to be real careful not to burn yourself here. Don't make contact with the oil with your hand. Don't make contact with the pan with your hand. And that's just going to create a nice thin layer there of canola oil spread all around your pan. Now, the pans is good and hot. I'm going to turn up the heat now. I'm going to make the heat up to about, medium low. Medium low flame. Now, I've seen some people cook crepes at real high heat. I've seen some people do it, on medium. I do it on medium or medium low. And that just gives me a little bit more time, to make sure I'm doing what I need to be doing. So, one thing you're definitely going to need for this, if you're using cast iron, you're going to need an oven mitt, because the pan is going to be hot all the way through the handle. And this is also now where a little bit of technique comes in. So I'll show you how I do this so we get the batter all spread around. The hardest part about this, honestly, is if your cast iron pan is real large and real heavy, it's going to be a good workout for your forearms and your biceps, because you're going to have to be lifting this thing up and swirling it around a little bit. So I'll show you what I'm going to do with that. Let's see, back the camera up a little bit, see a little bit more. Take your 1/3 cup measuring cup. You're going to fill this up with batter, not quite full. Okay, so it's a scant 1/3 cup. I'm going to give the batter a little stir. It's looking pretty good. Alright, so I got a scant 1/3 cup. I'm going to lift up my pan. I'm going to dump it in, and then this is all going to happen fast, so I get it swirled around real quick. then the little measuring cup goes back in the little bowl that you got out for it, so it don't make messes all over the place here. And you can see we got a nice looking crepe already started here on our very first one in the pan here. Now don't worry if they're perfectly round or whatever, you know, you're making this at home. This ain't no restaurant. It don't have to be perfect. It's going to taste delicious no matter what. You know, you and your family, you're going to crush it. You're going to eat it up and just crush it and love it. So, how do you know when it's time to flip? You're going to start to see it at the top starts to look solidified, so it's not, you know, looking like batter no more. And you're also going to notice that the edges is getting brown. So that's what I'm seeing on this one. I'm going to wait just a second longer maybe, and then I'm going to flip it. So flipping it, I don't know. This is where the spatula comes in, but they are easy to tear. So what I usually do, I lift it up, I use my hand to pick it up a little more, get the spatula under there and flip. And as you can see, got some beautiful golden brown action happening here. If it's a little more done, a little less done, it's fine. It don't matter. You can make them to your taste. And this is what I mean about crepes not being that fussy. You know, they really, if you don't, you know, if you want to cook at high heat and have them dark brown, you can. If you want to cook them lower heat and have them just light colored, you can. They're going to work no matter what. And they're going to be delicious. So, you know, you're just going to keep on repeating this process. Because this one's done now. Yep, that's done. So now I'm just going to repeat this process over and over and over. It's a labor of love. So once you get good at it, you might want to get two pans going at the same time, especially if you're making double or triple recipes because your family loves them. You probably don't want to stand at the stovetop all day. So once you get good at it, you start using two pans at the same time. You cut your time in half. Now this one right here is a good example of what they look like if your pan is a little hotter. So this pan that I had on the left, it got a little hotter. And you see it looks like it's almost got a lot of teeny tiny little holes in it. That's okay, it don't bother me, you know. That's an indication the pan was real hot and the water started sizzling and the liquid started sizzling and boiling as soon as it hit the pan. So, you know, it's all to your taste and how you like them. Alright, so I found that to my taste at the beginning, the crepes was cooking too fast, getting too brown. So what I do, I turn the flame down. I'm not throwing anything away, but you know, now they look pretty perfect. So I'm real happy with how they look now, and you know, I'm just going to keep on going with a lower flame. I have not had to grease the pans, you know, a second time at all. They just keep on, you know, cranking right out, coming out real nice and easy. But if you do, just save that paper towel from the beginning and just take it and, you know, it's probably still got some oil on it. Wipe your pans around again, you know, if you're having any problems. You just want to, you know, make sure that it's good and not sticking. And then I'm just going to keep on going. Alright, we're moving on now. I got a partial stack of crepes here. My kids have demolished a lot of them, but I think I still got enough left to make Blintze. I got a small baking dish here. I'm going to try to make 10 or 12 Blintze. I got a scooper here that it's about a 3 or 4 tablespoon scooper, which is going to help with the filling. I got the filling, which has been chilling, and then I also preheating the oven to 325. So now ready to go. I'm going to grease this pan and I'm going to start filling the Blintze.